Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay. I'll just walk you through about what we have recently developed for Solid Edge Cam Pro. I got about 25 minutes, but I'll just try to give glimpses of manufacturing, what we try to achieve, because no product is complete without a manufacturing. So you may design a beautiful product or excellent product and validate that, but it's no use it is unless you manufacture it and sell it to the customer, right? So we'll see how we can do the create, connect and collaborate using Solid Edge Cam Pro from manufacturing side. Now this is a slide we are all been using just to connect where we are heading, where is our direction for all the products, and then what you as a customer can look at it, right? These are all the lot of enhancements. It's a very hard, more than 250 enhancements we have been done. But if you see the only manufacturing is just a portion of that, right? Solid Edge Cam Pro is just a manufacturing enhancement I'll cover in 20 minutes. Now manufacturing is it's a big domain. Itself is a big domain, but at least I want to cover a portion of that what we have for a customers like you, and then take it to the market. Now I hope you all know that Solid Edge Cam Pro has been there for a long time. It has been available for all of us for almost 8-10 years now. We have a lot of customer base. It has got more than 70,000 customers globally, and then we have got a 20% market share for Siemens. Now why I'm showing this is you should not think that we are bringing a new product to the market. It's already a proven product. It's just been bundled along with the Solid Edge Cam Pro, and I'll just walk you through what is that product for all of us. In that, if you see part manufacturing, right? So when you say manufacturing, you can do an assembly manufacturing or a part, right? I'm just focusing more from a part manufacturing solution, what we got for Solid Edge Cam Pro. There are endless opportunities for all of us, right? So manufacturing is going through a lot of journey. Right? It's not just a conventional manufacturing what we used to do in the past. When I say there are changes are happening, I'm not sure we have to reskill ourselves. Not just a designer is doing the design job, we have to do the 3D printing maybe in the future as a manufacturing expertise. Not just a conventional approach where we are removing the material, we need to think of additive also, right? That's where a lot of changes or a shift is happening for all as a manufacturing fraternity. Now that's a big shift, right? Because we have not learned that in our engineering or whatever we have been completed our schooling. It's a reskilling for all of us as a manufacturing engineer or a CAM programmer. Now that means a lot of all of us look at what are the things we can look at from the Siemens side and how it will help to drive your productivity in terms of Solid Edge Cam Pro. This is a overall YANO machine. I think you saw this from the morning. I'll just touch base on this. If you see the part which Rahul and been showing from the morning, you can go in the part level or in the context of an assembly and then go to your manufacturing environment, what is relevant for me, and then only open the relevancy. Means it can be a part manufacturing or it can be assembly manufacturing. So I'm just showing the part of it, but you can even take an assembly level approach also. The whole idea here is it is an integrated approach. When I say integrated, if you go to the setup templates, you can go with NX in the backend. I want to reiterate, it is in the Solid Edge Cam Pro has been backed by NX Cam. I'm not sure how many of you know the NX Cam as a manufacturing. So in the backend, Solid Edge Cam Pro has come out with concept of manufacturing, right? So we are all giving all the underlying architecture for this. You create the part, validate your part digitally. When I say digitally, you don't need your machine, physical machine. I know most of the customers today, they need a physical machine. So instead of having a physical machine, you can do a digital validation, right? Because software design is a one part and creating a digital twin of the product and the production is another part, right? So before you don't have any machine, but still you can design your part, virtually validate that and create a digital twin or a virtual twin, right? So whatever you may have in your shop floor. That shop floor replica can be created and then taken back to the manufacturing, right? So that's how we are trying to address mostly the digital world and the physical world. How we are trying to marry is the way how Siemens can look at it here. So these are all new enhancements has been done, maybe a 3-axis additive manufacturing or a roughing or a 4-axis roughing. So a lot of new features have been come. Feature functionality will keep adding. We added a new wire iridium module along with the solid edge cam pro as well, because we know that a lot of intricate parts need to be manufactured, and that cannot be done with conventional approach. So you might need a wire iridium. So we understand that need, and then gone to the company and then partnered with them and then got that wire iridium also inside our cam pro. Now with this introduction, now this is just an introduction, right? So I'll go a little deeper about what all the cam can do for all of us. So you start with a design in solid edge. I know you're already a designer, or it can be an analyst. You have already designed, you validated your design. Now the biggest and the simplest part is you take that part into your solid edge cam pro environment to remove the material or add the material. I'll just repeat, you can remove the material or add the material. In the past, we only learned removing the material. But why I'm telling again and again is you can add or subtract, because we have a choice. Customer has a choice. You have a choice. Instead of buying a milling machine, you can buy a 3D print, or you can buy an additive manufacturing, which is a 3-axis or a 5-axis. So everybody has a choice today. Gone are the days where my machine is milling or machine or a turning machine or a wire iridium. But today, a lot of new things are coming up simultaneously. Along with that, we have added robots, right? So in the past, we never did the programming for the robot. But you, as a manufacturing fraternity, you need to learn even the robotic programming if you really want to be relevant for the market today, right? So additive and the robot and the generative design. You already talked about these 3 things, which we call as a technological enablers, will definitely shape our manufacturing, the way we think and the way we print or way we manufacture it. Now, these are all just features. Then if you think what all can be done with the solid edge cam pro, it's all basic things, right? You can do a face milling, or you can do a pocketing, milling, prismatic jobs or a complex job, anything, whatever is relevant for you. You can do the chamfering, or you can do the roughing or semi-finishing or finishing. All the basic operations are included inside the solid edge cam pro for 2.5-axis or 3-axis. But now this will not stop there, right? So I know your parts or your complexity will not stop just a prismatic part. You want to expand that into a next level of manufacturing. That we call as advanced, right? So apart from that, you can even do drilling, because you saw many parts have been with the holes, right? So you saw some hole enhancements, which Rahul was showing you, all of us, a live session from Siemens side. And you can do a centerline drilling, spot drilling, or what we call as pocketing, reaming, anything and every tapping, boring, all the manufacturing related applications, milling, hole making, thread milling, so tapping. So all that operations which we see on the slide is possible with our solid edge cam pro today. Now this is just a beginning for all of us, but you can expand it. Now what I'm saying, expand it, this even you can take, I know a lot of customers here, you want to do the mold and die, right? So it is not just a prismatic part machining, but you want to do for the milling part, or what we call as a die and mold machining, or a cavity milling, or even adaptive machining, or you may have a Z-level profile. And there are so many techniques to cut the same material, right? So it's all, again, depends on the experience of the user. Now what Siemens is trying to do is we are teaching, right? These are all called machine learning algorithms, have been incorporated inside an NXCAM or a solid edge cam pro, and then it is applicable for all of us while doing the programming in the future. That's how we are trying in the manufacturing domain. So the next step, maybe you can do an adaptive milling cut patterns are available with the 2 planars, or even you can do for 5-axis or 3-axis also. These are all simple cut pattern for the users. If you are thinking high-speed roughing, right? So I know you want to mill faster, right? So because the machines are capable enough today, you're getting a good tools, and then the fixture is perfect. So you can go with high-speed roughing, right? So that's the way the changes are happening. You want to finish or scoop out the maximum material as fast as possible, because we don't have a luxury of removing the bulk material, what used to happen in the past, right? So roughing normally used to take more time, but with these kind of new what we call as adaptive milling techniques, you can do a faster job, what was possible in the earlier. Now, this is one of the area where I thought Solid Edge CamPro can do a better job for all of us in terms of either Solid Edge CamPro, or you can take this part I have taken from Solid Edge, right? So when I open this inside an X CamPro or a Solid Edge CamPro, any changes to the Solid Edge design will even impact here, right? So if any design changes, you can update areas. Like that is what we call as seamless integration or data translation. So once we have that design to manufacturing or the validation part of it, so you can quickly validate how it looks before you cut it, right? So what we say is, these are all digital tools. Please remember, this is not costing any money for all of us because these are all digitally we are validating. Is there any collision? Is there any interference? Is there any, how much cycle time it is taking? Is it taking 30 minutes? Is it taking 10 minutes? Can I optimize the toolpath in this stage? Because this is just a digitally we are all validating. So there are tools available, tools and options where validate most of the option digitally, and then once it is proven, you can take that back to your machine so that your machine is optimal, the operator time is utilized effectively, right? So those kind of validation tools are available within the Solid Edge CamPro techniques, and then maybe it will be a best judge in terms of taking the right approach, what is need to be done, and then slowly what we are trying is we understand how you're doing today. Let's say I'm an expert engineer. While creating an operation, we know exactly what you're learning, and then maybe in the future we can understand how you're doing, and then it will suggest, right? That's called machine learning algorithms. It is called prediction, right? So I'm predicting what cams of what option you might be using. If let's say there is a mold and die part, or if an aerospace component, if it is a die, so depending on the part, it's a plastic part or a sheet metal part or a die. So depending on the hardness of the material, part of the material, scenario of the part, and what machine you have. See, all these things are fine, but if your machine, what resources if you have, it all depends on that also. So while selecting, you can select the part material, cut material, and then quickly create the toolpath for whatever you want. Now in this, once we generate the toolpath for 2.5 axis or 3 axis, you can post it as per the machine coordinates. We call G-code M-codes in the industry. This is all very common. You can view this toolpath. We call this as a viewer. It can be like a CLSF file, or it can be a G-code driven simulation, right? Both can be viewed, validated, and then put it to the machine for an effective utilization, what we call as machine validation. Now I already talked about this. This is going to be the change for all of us in the manufacturing domain. So means artificial intelligence, where my software will tell you which option to use, right? So Solid Edge CamPro has all the AI algorithms. You saw the product development team sitting here. They are able to use all the latest technologies which are available in the market, and then help us how to learn the subject, right? So how to give the best solution for the user like you and me. So that's an algorithm which is there in the backend, and then solve the problem. So if we have any toughest problem, so AI tools or machine learning algorithms will definitely assist the user like you and me and make our job simpler and make the productive jobs, right? In the past, we may be taking more time, or we were depending on only one person. It is a person independent. It's like a process dependent, right? So in the past, it's all application-based process, but today it's a process-based application. So you don't need to worry how the programming has been done. Software will automatically tell you how it has been done in the past, so you follow the process, so that you, even if I leave the organization, today the attritions are very high in the market. I don't know whether you're following this. A lot of attritions are happening. So what we are doing with this AI-assisted programming is we are capturing the intent of the programmer, designer, right? So then we are applying when a newcomer, when a new person joins the organization, we are giving that information back to him. That's the kind of information is captured and then given back to the user and manufacturing fraternity. These are all just glimpses. I'm not telling all. Normally, we recommend don't just go for toolpath just validation. We recommend you to go with a digital validation. That's a recommendation for the safety of your machine, because when you load the Solid Edge CamPro along with the part, it is always easy. You can't visualize whether the machine will go and touch the part, right? Is there any collision between the part and the assembly? So all that, what is scenario, we always recommend, if you have a Haas machine or a DMG machine or Okuma or whatever machine you may have, load that machine which is a 3D. So I recommend you collect the 3D model from your machine vendor, add the kinematics to it, we can create the post processor, validate the G-code driven simulation, and then take the corrective action in the digital environment. So in this process, you are losing time digitally, but in the physically, you are first time right? So it all means your operator time is not wasted. We are not wasting the machine time, real machine time. Digitally, you may be spending, people are not understanding the digital validation is a time of, it's an effort. You put that effort once and then you can consume multiple times. Then your operator time and machine time you can utilize effectively. That's a message what I want to give you. Though you may be a SMB customer or a large scale customer, everybody should do a digital validation before loading it. It can be a 3-axis, it can be 5-axis, or it can be any other machine also. So this is how I recommend load the machine, not just a tool or a holder. It can be anywhere and anything. So, but always recommended go for the complex machining and validation. Now, tools are there because I'm not a skilled user, right? So if I'm not an expert, it is always hard for all of us. How can I learn the techniques? Now, what we are trying here is we are giving as simple as possible. I'm not saying everything is simple, but what is possible from the Siemens side or the manufacturing expertise perspective. Let's say I created in this example a 3-axis programming in the Solid Edge CAM Pro. Let's say I got a new machine after 2 years, right? Normally I got a 3-axis machine. Today I may expand 5-axis machine. Now in that scenario, you can convert a 3-axis toolpath to a 5-axis toolpath when you get a new machine, right? So that kind of flexibilities are there in the today's world. So earlier we were not having all these options. So take the toolpath, optimize it, and then give the base angle or what we call as a fan angle, give the lead in and lead out angle, let's say 20-degree tilt. Depending on that, you tilt the tool, and then you can easily convert a 3-axis toolpath to a 5-axis toolpath if you have a machine now. I remember you have a scenario, all these things, because I'm not an expert on the 5-axis, but I know 3-axis. So that's how you can upskill. So the tools are available, you just need to know where is the technology and then apply the techniques and learn and reskill yourself if you are an application engineer or if you are a designer. So always we have to reskill ourselves into the latest trends and techniques so that we are always adding a value to the company. The next step may be, I know a lot of times you are just starting like in, let's say you are a mold and die maker, but that is not the end. You always want to expand yourself, right? So it is not just like because the business scenario will change suddenly, right? So you need to have a mechanism to create a toolpath, and then let's say you have a 5-axis toolpath, or you are today only in automotive supplier, you might expand into aerospace also, right? To other industry. I'm saying not just restricting yourself. In that scenario, you can create either a complex part, we call this as a blade or impeller. It is not restricting only the solid part or a prismatic part, any part, you can create the toolpath using Solid Edge CAM Pro. There is no restriction. As a technologically, we are not allowing you to do any restriction. You just create it to optimize it and then create a blade programming. So that kind of complexity can handle. So I'm just showing you one example, how quickly you can create one example of the blade and then transform it. We normally call this as a transformation. You can say every 30-degree or 25-degree, you can just transform it and then create the toolpath for your application. This normally I have seen people are doing on the shop floor or the machine, but that takes time. So I don't encourage these things to be taken as a shop floor because it's a time-consuming effort. It is always recommended to do at the software level or a digital twin level and then be ready for the Industry 4.0, right? So otherwise, it's always a manual dependent. So we don't want to have as much as possible a manual dependent. And then, so this is one of the example. So there is one more is called multi-blade. So this you create one part. So if you really want to create the multi-blade, you can do the optimization or what we call as transformation of the toolpath. So I created one toolpath and there is an option called transform. If you change any one blade, all the blades get updated, right? So in the aerospace industry, that is very exactly required. That is the benefit of model-based definition. If you want to really go for the MBD process, these are all the back-end work we all have to be prepared as a manufacturing. So I just created one toolpath and then rotated it, or what we call as transform it. So it's called single blade or a multi-blade. Either of the one can be done using Solid Edge CAM Pro programming, and then you can quickly create these things and then enhance your skills. Another important element is roughing. This is always a debatable, but I want, because most of the people want to go high 5-axis roughing, right? So normally in the past we used to remove the bulk of the material using 3-axis machine, but it's still people are recommending why can't we go for a 5-axis with roughing, right? That was not there in the earlier 4 years back or 5 years back, but today industry is changing a bit. Machines have been good enough so that you can take care of 5-axis roughing in the Solid Edge CAM Pro also. No need to wait. So all these things are available. You can just quickly create your 5-axis toolpath, not just a prismatic, but even a 5-axis roughing, and then validate this physically, digitally, then give it to the shop floor. So you're saving time, first time right, there are no accident, right? So maintenance of the machine will be reduced, and the optimizing of your machine will be higher. And then you can optimize the toolpath. Let's say once you take the toolpath, you can increase the feed rate, decrease the feed rate, depending on the cutter load condition. All that can be done digitally. So you don't need to go to the third-party software to optimize the toolpath, right? So increasing feed rate, decreasing the feed rate, it's all by default, right? So I suggest you can go ahead and do the optimization of the toolpath depending on the cutter load condition. In the CAM, so always we complain that my post processor is a mother, right? So let's say you generate the part, you generate the tool path, but if we are not able to give the output to the right machine, the right code, it is of no use, right? So it's like we are creating a fancy tool path or a fantastic tool path, but it is, unless you give that in the form of G code, M code to your machine, it is of no use for all of us. Now what we recommend is, we created a post hub. Now post hub is what we call as a cloud-based solution, where Siemens started putting all the post processor on a cloud. Because let's say globally we are creating, our partners are creating, and that post you can go check whether if it works for you, because we don't have time to check, waste time on that. So before you get the machine delivered to your premises, you can validate once you order the machine, right? So then you can check it. So 1,200 posts we have already put under the post hub. But some are free, some are chargeable, nominal fees are there, but I encourage, because the cost of the machine what you buy is always higher. Don't compromise on the quality of the post we use, because that's the safety of the machine, right? It's always beneficial, go with the proven post than the trial and error post. I always recommend go ahead with the Solid Edge CAM Pro. What we have is 1,200 plus posts already available. You can take it and use it on your day-to-day activity. This is how Post Hub is working for us today, 1,000 plus. We keep adding. Please understand, we are not stopping it. When we put this under the cloud, this is of the benefit, because you can go to the, let's say today you're only a 3-axis machine. After 3 years, you might add a robot to your. So that's the reason we have added all the permutation and combination in the Post Hub. You can go check whether relevancy is there. If it shows that it is relevant, you can check, and then only you can take for a week or some trial. And then you decide whether you want to go ahead with this machine or this post or no, right? So that kind of flexibility we are giving using our Post Hub. I know in the past it was a challenge, but we are trying to address with our Post Hub today. So you can just load this machine. Once you download that, you can load automatically the part. So this is called a Smart Machine Toolkit. We introduced a year back inside our Solid Edge CAM Pro. Let's say you want to check with the machine. We have got few machine. You can even check the Smart Machine Toolkit as well in the library. So apart from all these things, I think a lot of new enhancements have been done. I'm just ignoring it, some of this, but very, very important. I am only covering the wire idiom. Wire idiom, as I mentioned from the beginning, a new way of adding, we call advanced wire idiom techniques have been added to Solid Edge CAM Pro. I encourage all of you to go through that with Siemens website, so you understand what exactly you are looking at it, and then see how best you can apply that, right? The 3-axis, the simple things are everybody can do it, right? So people will come back to Siemens and asking, we are expecting more from Siemens. Now this is a complex machine, or what we call as multifunction machine, right? So if you see this machine, this is a little complex in nature. I hope most of you may be seeing Gone are the days where milling was separate, turning was separate, and drilling was separate. So we combined all this milling, turning, drilling together, called multi-function machine or a multitasking machine. So gone are the days where all used to be manual. Now it's all automatic, right? So we call this as a main spindle, sub spindle, single channel, multi-channel. Complexity is increasing. So you need an expert to do all these things with a programming knowledge, how the machine works, how the machine behaves, and which controller it is, right? So there are more complexities are increasing for all of us, and then you can even do the tailstock programming, right? So the whole idea here is you can start with the solid edge CAMPRO basic, and then you can expand depending on the scale where you go, right? So today or tomorrow, right? So you can start with the dynamics B-axis roughing or any other part. You can do the turning, or you can do the milling, or you can do the turn mill application or a mill turn application. There is no limit, right? So solid edge CAMPRO gives flexibility, and at any time flexibility is always open architecture, what we believe in that, right? So the whole idea here is you can even automate some things. We got something called as feature-based machining inside solid edge CAMPRO. If features are frequent, you can automate that using FBM. We call that as a feature-based machining techniques. But that is very, very relevant if you want to adopt MBD. You know, MBD has been adopted, a lot of customers in the automotive and aerospace customers, but if you want to adopt, FBM is a first step to automate it, right? So if you really want to automate many things which are repeat in work, that can be done with feature-based machining, right? So then you can take out the part and then send the programming for the completeness. So these are all very, very complex in nature. In the past, we used to think machines are simple. I'm not saying this is there in India as well. It was not there in India for a long time, around 10 years back, but today most of the customers have this kind of complexity. So it's not a very, very straightforward programming where we can do the programming by just manually. So you need to validate what you are loading on the machine. Okay, so this is just a entry. So when I look at all these things, what next, right? So we have to look what are the new innovations are happening in the market. So it is not the end for all of us today. When we start machining new ways of innovative technology, Siemens is always interested in manufacturing. We are not just a designing company, we want to manufacture it and prove it on the customer. So there are changes are happening. I think you all know these things. A new is additive. You saw the part which Rahul was doing based on the topology optimization or whatever your generative design, all that new techniques, which is a mesh model, which is a STL model, you can take that for that and apply any of the additive manufacturing techniques. So it is not restricting for us. You can start with either a powder bed fusion, or you can have a multi-jet fusion, or even you can do a hybrid. You can add a material, subtract the material in the same machine, right? That's what we call as hybrid machine. Very complex in nature, looks simple, but not that simple, right? To understand that, and then if you really want to do a fuse deposition for the multi-axis with a where we call as composite machine material, so that is also solution are there, but you can use a robot or a milling head. Either of the one, latest technology can be used from Siemens side. Now, then there is one more called human machine interface, what we call as HMI. Now, one is solid edge CAMPRO simulation, right? Now, but today we are talking about the controller also. One is software, another is hardware. We call hardware in loop and software in loop. How can we marry both together? So that's where we closely working with a controller. What you see is solid edge CAMPRO has inbuilt 840D controller. By default, if you see 840D today in the machine, it's Siemens controller, it is already available within all the Siemens solution. It can be solid edge CAMPRO or it can be an XCAM, right? So what we are doing is that integration from design to controller and controller to the software. So that's how we are doing a closed loop mechanism for all of us. And then I am just showing you a new way of machining it, this gear. We work with customer here. I'm just loading the machine. This is a new way. Now this is a repair of the gear. It is not adding, it is a subtractive material, right? So it is a subtraction. I just added the Chiron machine. I'm not sure how many of you know what is Chiron. It's a German machine where I want to position my part along with the fixture. So once I position it, so it can be easy to program it so that let's say instead of adding a material, I can subtract the material, or you can do both. Either of the way you can do it. So this is how I'm just saying the new innovations are possible. with solid edge cam pro techniques. Now, with this kind of innovations in mind, you can imagine what all the things, what I am saying here is this is just a milling machine. Imagine two robots are coming, right? So one is doing the deposition, another doing the subtraction. So both can be done, right? So that kind of complexity also we support using NX Solid Edge Cam Pro, and then you are doing a local blade repair. So this is an area where only that area I got welding. I want to only machine that only one gear. So that's a scenario here. Most of the customers go for welding. Here they are going for additive. So this is a new way people are thinking it. I'm not sure how far it is applicable for you. So, but techniques are same. You understand the user interface is same. We are not adding anything, but just a new template has been added called mill multi-axis, right? So that's how the template-based approach always works for us. You can even create your own template. Though we create it, there are about 18 plus applications, but still, if you really want to add the material or subtract the material in the same machine, you can do so, right? That's a kind of benefits normally we get, and this is the HMI I was talking. So you have a software and you have a HMI, 840D controller. That's a kind of closed loop. If you really want to be ready with the industry 4.0, what people call in the market, this is the first step. If you are not there yet, then a back-end step is MBD. First create, instead of 2D drawing, come to the 3D model. Once you have that, then you can go to the industry 4.0 or automation or any other process, right? So these are all step-by-step approach we all have to take as a journey and then be successful. So we all want all our customers to be successful, and this is all new innovations are happening, and then Siemens can support all of you in this journey, right? So it is not just the end of the presentation. Last but not the least, Solid Edge Cam Pro even you can extend, because today you are only thinking of milling, but if you really want to extend your application to the robots, right? I want to do the manufacturing, not just a restriction, I want to go with the flexibility, right? This flexibility is about robots. So you can take a robot, KUKA, FANUC, KBB, any robot you can take it and then do the machining within the Solid Edge Cam Pro. That's also possible. Now, but today you may not have it. I know we all may not have a robot, but after 2 years, this is not a luxury, it become a commodity, right? All these things are happening like that. 5 years back, 5-axis was a luxury. But today, you go to any customer, everybody has one or the 5-axis machine, right? So that becomes, in the past, like a luxury, but today we are all talking as a basic necessity, right? That's how we are investing on our efforts in terms of development direction and then solve our customer problem. I know tomorrow you will come back with this question, so we are now working on that. It is already available for you to check it. If you really want, you can check it available for us. So this is where we tested, we conducted. We have our own application center called Technology Application Center in Bangalore. If anybody happens to visit, please visit us. We have all the machines, we have all the hardware, all integrated and demonstrating for all of us, right? So that's where we can learn, skilling ourselves and understand what are the technological gaps we have, if we have anything, and then check the validation of that, right? So I'll just skip these things or our advanced enhancements because of the time what I have. I'll just come to the lot of enhancements, feature-based manufacturing, 3+2 roughing is coming up. Then a flow cut is slowly we are changing, a flow mill, a new way of coming out. Flow milling is coming, we are slowly replacing a flow cut. It used to be the very good code when we started with the flow cut, but slightly we are going with a new algorithm. We call that as a flow mill, which is already available with the Solid Edge Cam Pro now with the latest version what we have. Okay, so this is all enhancement. We are getting a new algorithm. Please, I want you to explore the alternatives. Don't go with the older way of approach. So please, when you see the new things, I want you to ensure that, and you see new enhancements, we are telling where you need to use this, where is the application. So we are saying that going forward, there will not be any document, right? So thousands of pages document may not be available in the future. So we tell which one to use where and what is recommended for all of us, right? So that's a recommendation. We recommend there, and then you please use as and when required. So the help at the fingertip. So you don't need to thousands of pages, 3 days of training manual are not required going forward. So we are trying to address this using where to use what, right? So if you have a complex parts or rotary parts, you can use these things, right? So everything we are adding, Multi-access debugging. Debugging was always requested by customer like you. We didn't have this option. We took that as an enhancement request. Thanks to our product development team who took this as a priority and then listened to the customer voice and then getting as much information as possible, and then we got the multi-access debugging also. Either you can do a 3-access debugging or 3+2 or even multi-access. All these things are available as part of your Solid Edge CAM Pro. Okay? So I'm just skipping this in the interest of time. But overall, what I'm saying here is, if you really want to see the Solid Edge CAM Pro, what exactly we are doing in the interest of the customer, we try to optimize as much as possible from Siemens side and then integrate with the customer request and then give a better output from that side. So these are all some benefits. So this is what is my last slide. I want to just summarize what we saw. Manufacturing is under a lot of changes. You can expect a few more changes in the future. So we are even prepared. So new technology, you already saw what we are supporting it, and then it is the right way. In this journey, we are all part of this journey. So if you have any question, please just let me know. If anybody has any question, I am ready to take. In the interest of time, I will be available also during the lunch break. You can just drop me if you have any question, or you can give your feedback during that. You can even ask your request. We have a partner also. A lot of partners are there in Pune, so they can support you. So thanks for your time. I hope it was useful. I got only 30 minutes. I try to cover maximum things in 30 minutes. But at least you understand where is the industry heading, where is the product direction is going, and then what you can expect in the future. That's what I wanted to cover in the 25 to 30 minutes.